Does the integer k have a factor p such that 1 is less than p is less than k? I mean, that is just a very convoluted way of saying, is k prime? Does it have any factors in between 1 and itself? Well, that's asking whether it's prime or not. If its only factors are 1 and itself, it's prime. But if it has some other factor in between, you can't have factors that are bigger than it. You know, he's asking just, does it have any factors other than 1 in itself? So is k prime? Always simplify the question as much as possible, whenever possible. Sometimes you can't simplify it anymore, but this is just asking, is k prime? Okay, so k is bigger than 4 factorial. Well, 4 factorial is 24. K is bigger than 24. Well, it could be any number bigger than 24. It could be 25, which is not prime, or it could be 29, which is prime. So that's definitely not sufficient. Second one, okay, classic setup here. 13 factorial plus, it's between 13 factorial plus 2 and 13 factorial plus 13. Well, okay, 13 factorial plus 2, is that prime? Well, I'm thinking about, is there any number that goes into both those terms? The 2 here, does 2 go into 13 factorial? Yes, because it's 1 times 2 times 3, blah, 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 all the way to 13. So basically, this is 13 factorial plus 2 is a multiple of 2 plus a multiple of 2. So it's divisible by 2. It's not to itself, so it's not prime. Okay, well, k could be the next number, which is 13 factorial plus 3. Is that prime? Is there any number that goes in both these terms? Well, yeah, 3. 3 goes into 13 factorial, 3 goes into 3. So a multiple of 3 plus a multiple of 3 will be divisible by 3. So that's not prime, just like that wasn't once. What are the next ones? 13 factorial plus 4. Any number that goes into both those terms? Well, we have 4. 4 goes in here. 4 goes into 13 factorial, So this isn't prime. 13 factorial plus 5, is that prime? Well, we have a 5 here, so 5 goes into this. Does 5 go into 13 factorial? Yes, because again, it's all these numbers multiplied together. So 5 goes into 13 factorial. So both these terms are divisible by 5. It's a multiple of 5 plus another multiple of 5. So it's divisible by 5, so it's not prime. And then we keep going through the numbers. 13 factorial plus 6, 13 factorial plus 7. None of these are prime because 13 factorial plus 6 is, both these terms are divisible by 6, so this is a multiple of 6, so it's not prime. I mean, if you're a multiple of anything other than 1, of course, if you're a multiple of 2 or a multiple of 3 or a multiple of 4 as a binomial, it's not prime. 13 factorial, likewise, is not prime because it's 13 factorial plus 7. Both those terms have a 7 in them. 13 factorial plus 8, no, because again, 8 goes into both of these. So you're probably seeing what's going on now. I mean, 13 factorial plus 9, not prime because it's divisible by 9. Plus 10, not prime. Plus 11, no, not prime because both of these terms are divisible by 11. 13 factorial plus 12 is not prime. 13 factorial plus 13 is not prime. So none of the numbers from 13 factorial plus 2 to 13 factorial plus 3, none of them are prime. So k is not prime. So number 2 is sufficient. We know if k is one of the integers in this range from here to here, we know from what I saw here that none of those are prime numbers. Okay, so 2 is sufficient.